Unbeknownst to me, Fiio has dropped their newest audio player under the Snowsky brand, the Echo Nano. Not to be confused with the Retro Nano or the Echo Mini. The Echo Nano comes in a more familiar shape to those of us who lived with MP3 players, opposed to, Walkman. It then also comes in 7 colors: black, gold, pink, orange, blue, green and silver. I myself got the green model here. In some of the promotional material, you can also see a purple version, which I couldn't find anywhere. Maybe it's a special version that's only released in China, or it will be sold later, I don't know. If you know more, let me know. And all of that for around $57. But enough of that, let's get into what you get when you buy the Echo Nano. First, in the box, which is bigger than I expected, when you compare it as an example to the Snowsky Mini, it's almost the same size. You get the Echo Nano itself, a USB-A to C cable, a pretty cheap one I would say, and a bunch of paperwork. And some silica gel. There's also a clip you can buy to clip it on your clothes, on your pockets, on your jacket, whatever, but you have to buy that one separately. Then as for what the Nano itself offers, you get an aluminum magnesium alloy body, which feels quite nice I might add, a scroll wheel, a 0.91 inch OLED display, a Cirrus Logic CS43-131 DAC chip, support for a vast array of file formats up to 24 bits at 192 kHz, 265 megabytes of internal storage, with support for a microSD card up to 256 gigabytes, a 3.5mm headphone jack, and a 360 mAh battery that supposedly lasts up to 7 hours. And all of that at the low weight of 33.5 grams. I did test the battery life and can confirm about 5 to 7 hours depending on the headphones and volume you use. Then next, how is it actually to use the Nano for its main purpose? Well, out of the box, not very good, as the entire interface was in Chinese. So let me first show you how to fix that, if you decide to get one and have the same problem. First, use the scroll wheel to get to the options menu. Press the small button to get in, scroll down 5 steps until you're below the UAC option. The UAC is still in English letter, but the rest is in Chinese. Then you click the small button again for language and select English. With that done, let's get to listening. First, selecting a song is a bit of a pain, as you only get 2 options at a time on this cramped little screen. This wouldn't even be that bad if it wasn't for the fact that it uses the file names instead of the metadata names for the songs. My entire library is set up with proper metadata, which I showed in another video how I do that, by the way. But the file names are a bit all over the place. Most of them start with a number, but there are also some that start with the band names. So if you don't name the files in a specific way, you will have one hell of a time finding some of your songs on this device. But let's assume you have your file names all figured out. In that case, it really isn't too bad. I really like the wheel as an input method. It makes it quite easy to just breeze through the list, despite only seeing 2 at the time. Added to that is that the interface with the wheel feels extremely snappy. I don't think I noticed a single time where it would stall or not register my inputs. All in all, it's simple but effective. What isn't as effective though in its simplicity is library options. You get all songs, favorites, artists, albums, genres and folders, or like your media library. The options you do have are a good set, but are missing by year, recently played, playlists and search. The last 2 are especially notable. With the limited interface, it would be great to have a simple search function and a way to add a playlist to minimize the amount of time you need to find certain songs. I do hope for some future updates to address these issues, but let's end it on a good note with the quality. The Echo Nano was able to drive my 770 80 ohms without any problems, with a comfortable volume at around the level 50, leaving plenty of room upwards. I wasn't able to test yet headphones with higher impedance, but I can see it being able to handle double or more, as long as you don't want to have an ear-shattering loud volume, of course. Other than it having no problems with my headphones, it also had no problem to deliver a good quality sound, without any apparent noise. If the firmware gets an update to make the Nano read the song names from the metadata, then I would say it trumps the Mini for me completely. But let me not get ahead of myself. That is because I first have to get to the DAC functionality as well. Just like with the Mini I covered before, you can hook the Nano up to a PC, phone, etc. and use its hardware as an external sound card. This time around, you don't need a software update to first enable it, as it works out of the box. The usage is quite simple. You simply plug in the USB-C cable, then select USB DAC, and there you go. I sometimes had problems with the Mini, where it would take a while to figure out what to do or needed to be restarted while plugging in. But with the Nano, it's as plug and play as it gets. While in DAC mode, you can still use all the media keys as a way to now control the host device. Forwards, backwards, play, pause work on the system itself, while the volume itself stays separate on the device. Just like in the player mode, it can handle my headphones without any issues, while still delivering on the quality. I might also want to add here where it delivered, as I first tested it on my desktop running Linux. I had no problems there. While Linux has become better, it is still often a third-class citizen when it comes to compatibility, but not in this case. I also tested it on my work laptop and my MacBook Neo without any problems, so on the PC side it really is just plug and play. I then did lastly test it with my Xperia, and the results are the same. My only real gripe is that once you exit the DAC mode by holding the play button for a few seconds, there seems to be no way to return it from the menu. As such, you will need to replug it to return to DAC mode. In the grand scheme of things, this is only a small thing though. The Nano works especially great as a portable DAC for your phone or laptop. I didn't mind the Mini, but it is quite a bit larger, which is more noticeable when you carry it together in your pocket or have it on a side table in a restaurant or something. Thus, the Nano sits comfortably in my pocket, feeling like an extension rather than a separate device. And this brings me to the conclusion already. The Echo Nano is a good little addition to the Snowsky lineup that manages to keep a good set of features while being surprisingly small and light. This, however, comes at a cost with a navigation system that feels lackluster and a battery that will only last you so long. One of these issues can and hopefully will get fixed with an update or two, but the other is a compromise you just need to be aware of. As such, if you're aware of the downsides and don't mind them, then I would say it's worth to get the Echo Nano, even if you just use it as a small DAC. But I'm still satisfied with it and will carry it in my backpack together with a set of IEMs. I will admit though that I don't think that this is a device that everyone will enjoy, but I hope I could help you out with this decision, and if you want to get one, I will link where I bought mine in the pinned comment down below.